Hi everyone, and welcome to a Museum Minute with the Kamloops Museum and Archives. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan and I'm a museum educator here at the Kamloops Museum. Now, just before we begin today with our artifact chat, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are located in the Kamloops territory in the traditional and unceded lands of the Secwepemc First Nation. Now, this artifact beside me, one of my favorite things to do with this artifact is to bring people into our fur trade gallery and ask them to guess what this is. Now, if you've taken one of my tours before, you might already know that this is in fact a fur press. The fur press was a really important invention to fur traders. We know, of course, that the first fur traders arrived here in the Kamloops area around 1811. By 1812, they're overwintering, and by 1821, the Hudson's Bay Company has completely taken over in the area, holding a monopoly on the fur trade here. Now, this was really important to the fur traders for a couple of reasons. Some of you might remember that back then, most people were getting around largely by canoe. In fact, the first roads that go in the Kamloops area are designed to join bodies of water together. So people would take their canoes filled with their furs and all of their supplies, and they would portage between bodies of water because it was so much easier to travel by canoe than by foot. There's also no railways at the time. Now, of course, if you're traveling by canoe, your furs are getting wet, they're getting eaten by bugs, and by the time you get back to Europe with all of these furs, it's very difficult to sell them for a profit, to make those lovely felted beaver hats that we've seen. So the fur press comes into being because of this issue. Now, what the fur traders would do is they would take their furs and stack them up underneath this press. Then they would use this screw to screw down and exert enormous pressure on the furs to sort of seal them together. These cubes would weigh about 90 pounds, and because these furs were so tightly sealed together, that would mean that the water wasn't getting in, the bugs couldn't get to them, and by the time they got back to Europe, they could be sold for a tidy profit. Now, of course, this fur press has some negative implications as well. Beavers in the area, as with most of Canada, were hunted almost to extinction. So I often encourage people when they come into this gallery to consider the positives and negatives when you see an artifact in a museum's collection. Thank you so much for joining me for Museum Minute. See you next time.